Hey everyone, welcome to this fascinating journey into the heart of Indigenous Australia. Let's talk about Australia, this huge island down under. It's not just a country, it's a continent with a rich tapestry of cultures and histories. Way before anyone from Europe even knew it existed, Aboriginal people lived here for tens of thousands of years. They have one of the oldest continuous cultures on the planet. Imagine a land where stories were like magic, shaping everything around them. These stories, known as Dreamtime stories, were passed down through generations and were a vital part of their culture. Aboriginal Australians, the oldest culture on Earth, lived in harmony with the land. They had a deep spiritual connection to the environment, seeing themselves as part of the natural world. They were super-skilled hunters and gatherers, and they knew everything about nature. Their knowledge of the land, plants and animals was unparalleled, allowing them to thrive in diverse environments. Their stories, passed down through generations, told about powerful spirits who created the land and animals. These stories were not just myths, but were integral to their understanding of the world and their place in it. These stories were more than just tales. They were their laws, their history, who they were. They guided their daily lives, their social structures, and their interactions with the environment. When Europeans showed up in the 1700s, everything changed. The arrival of settlers brought significant challenges and disruptions to the Aboriginal way of life. It was a tough time for Aboriginal people, but their culture is still strong today. Despite the hardships, they have preserved their traditions, and their vibrant culture continues to thrive in modern Australia. 1788, a year that would mark the beginning of a new chapter in the history of Australia. It was a big year for Australia, a land that had been inhabited by Aboriginal people for tens of thousands of years. This year would see the arrival of new faces and the start of significant changes. 11 ships, known collectively as the First Fleet, embarked on a grueling journey from England. After months at sea, battling storms and scurvy, they finally sailed into Botany Bay. On board were convicts, sent to serve their sentences far from home, as well as officers and marines to oversee them. This was the beginning of a penal colony, a place where Britain could alleviate its overcrowded prisons. The First Fleet was led by Captain Arthur Phillip, a man tasked with the monumental job of establishing this new colony. Alongside the convicts were soldiers and a few free settlers, all stepping onto this sunny, unfamiliar land with a mix of hope and trepidation. Life was hard, and the challenges were many. The early settlers faced immense difficulties. Hunger and sickness were rampant, and they had to learn to adapt to a land that was vastly different from their homeland. They also had to navigate their relationship with the Aboriginal people, who had their own rich culture, and were understandably wary of these newcomers. Despite the hardships, the settlers began to build a new society. They constructed rudimentary houses and started to cultivate the land. Each small success was a step towards establishing a permanent settlement. As houses went up and farms began to take shape, the foundations of an economy started to emerge. The settlers planted crops, raised livestock, and slowly but surely a community began to form. The seeds of modern Australia were planted during these early years. It was a difficult start, fraught with challenges, but it was the beginning of a nation. From these humble beginnings, a new society would grow, one that would eventually become the Australia we know today. For many years, convicts were the backbone of the colony. Sent from far away, they were the workers, the builders, the forced pioneers. Their stories, full of hardship and strength, are part of Australia's story. They built roads, bridges and cleared land for farms, creating the foundation for Australia's future. But it wasn't just convicts. Free settlers, hoping for land and a better life, started arriving too. They brought their own ideas and dreams, but also their prejudices, shaping the growing colony. The relationship between settlers and Indigenous Australians was complicated and often violent. Land was taken, cultures clashed, and the effects of this are still felt today. Gold. In 1851, gold was discovered and everything changed again. People rushed to Australia hoping to strike it rich. But this new wealth wasn't all good. The Eureka Stockade, a short rebellion in 1854, saw miners fighting against unfair laws and a corrupt government. The rebellion didn't last long, but it sparked a desire for fairness and change. The Eureka Stockade is remembered as a fight for a more just and independent Australia. The gold rush ended, but it helped Australian industry grow. Sheep farming became even bigger to feed the growing population. Huge sheep farms, some as big as small countries, covered the outback. Mining became super important too. From gold to coal to iron ore, the land was full of riches. Cities like Sydney and Melbourne grew into busy hubs, full of people chasing their Australian dream. As the 1800s ended, a sense of national identity grew. After lots of discussions, the 6 colonies, New South Wales, Victoria, Queensland, South Australia, Western Australia and Tasmania, joined together to become the Commonwealth of Australia on January 1st, 1901. This was a huge moment. A new nation was born, united and ready for the future. The Australian spirit, shaped by hardship and opportunity, was ready to be heard by the world. The 1900s brought new challenges and victories. Australia, young and ready to show its strength, fought bravely in both world wars. These wars shaped Australia, creating a strong bond with its allies. The sacrifices made during these tough times earned Australia respect around the world. After the wars, Australia became super prosperous. Lots of people from Europe and other places came to Australia looking for a safe place and a better life. This mix of cultures changed Australia, making it a vibrant, multicultural country. Australia embraced this change, leaving behind its colonial past and looking forward to a diverse future. Today, Australia is a strong and confident country, standing tall on the global stage. With its vibrant cities, stunning landscapes and rich cultural heritage, Australia has much to offer the world. It has a strong economy, a stable government, and is known for innovation and progress. The Australian economy is one of the largest mixed-market economies in the world, driven by sectors such as mining, manufacturing, agriculture and services. The country's political stability and transparent regulatory environment make it an attractive destination for investors and businesses alike. From its famous landmarks to its great universities, Australia is a world leader in science, technology, the arts and sports. Institutions like the University of Melbourne and the Australian National University are renowned for their research and academic excellence. The Sydney Opera House and the Melbourne Arts Precinct are just a few examples of Australia's thriving cultural scene. Its mix of natural beauty, culture and relaxed attitude is loved by people all over the world. The Great Barrier Reef, one of the 7 natural wonders of the world, attracts millions of tourists each year. Bondi Beach, with its golden sands and surf-friendly waves, is a symbol of the Australian lifestyle. Australia looks to the future with respect for its past, promising a brighter future for everyone. National celebrations like Anzac Day and Australia Day reflect the country's deep sense of history and community spirit. These events bring people together, fostering a sense of unity and pride. From the ancient wisdom of its Indigenous people to its multicultural present, Australia is a country on the rise, a great example of human resilience, creativity and the beauty of this sunburnt land. The rich traditions and knowledge of Indigenous Australians are celebrated and respected, while the country's multicultural festivals showcase the diverse and inclusive nature of modern Australia. This unique blend of the old and the new makes Australia a fascinating and dynamic place to live and visit.